Several questions also need to be asked of the union government, which is being accused of looking the other way, allowing this cultural emergency to spread across our country. I want to go across to Chandigarh. Joining us from there is Union Information Broadcasting Minister Manish Tewari. Manish, from Kamal Haasan in Tamil Nadu to Salman Rushdie being barred from entering Kolkata to Ashish Nandi being hounded in Rajasthan, it seems liberal arts and liberalism is in jeopardy, and the government is tonight standing accused of looking the other way. Free speech is being stomped upon and you're not doing anything to prevent it, Manish.
Well, Rahul, when I last read the Constitution of India, which was about 24 hours back, I did not come across a term called cultural emergency. If the Constitution has been amended in the last 24 hours, I do not know. Otherwise, you are using phraseology which does not exist either in the statute or in the Constitution. But be that as it may, if I were to go to the core of your concern with regard to whether freedom of speech and expression is safe, robust, alive and kicking in India, then I can assure you that indeed is the case. Yes, we've had certain aberrations, but the fact remains that notwithstanding those aberrations, we have a very, very vibrant public space, and in that public space, people have been articulating opinions, and those opinions have not only been heard, but they have been respected, all throughout the decades.
Manish, you're saying that freedom of speech is alive and kicking. I'm afraid it's gasping for breath and is being kicked around constantly. Just see the sheer number of instances where public speech has been clamped down on. The Salman Rushdie incident, Rushdie not being allowed to Kolkata despite having an invitation to go there. Your former alliance partner is in charge. How does the state explain to this nation why Mr. Rushdie should be barred from entering one part of our country while he can go to Kolkata, while he can go to Mumbai, he can go to Bangalore, he can go to Delhi without any problem at all, Manish?
Well, I think that's a question which you should really address to the Chief Minister of West Bengal. If at all Mr. Salman Rushdie has a problem with the state of West Bengal or he has a problem with the Trinamool Congress, then possibly either the Trinamool Congress or the state of West Bengal would be in a better position to answer this question as to A, whether Mr. Salman Rushdie was banned from going to that state, and if indeed he was banned, were there any formal orders which were promulgated, and if at all any formal orders were promulgated, what was the cause for such promulgation. So therefore, if you would have asked the representative of the state of West Bengal, you would have got a much, much more cogent answer. But be that as it may, I think this term that you used at the beginning of the program, cultural emergency, possibly stems from, if I've been correctly informed, a tweet which Mr. Salman Rushdie put out in the morning.
That's correct.
And the fact that somebody can tweet about the state of affairs in India, of course, being completely erroneous about it, and you and I can then debate it on national television in the night, is, I think, a fair testimony to the freedom and the robustness of free speech in India.
Manish, you're blaming the West Bengal government in this case, but the fact is, when the same Mr. Rushdie, right before the Uttar Pradesh elections, wanted to come to India, it's the same Congress government that didn't want to allow him into Rajasthan, where your colleague Mr. Ashok Gehlot is in charge. So the fact is, what Mamata Banerjee is guilty of today, the Congress was guilty of yesterday. And look also at the manner in which Ashish Nandi is being hounded. He made an argument, you may agree with him, you may disagree with him, but the fact is he's entitled to make his point and enter into a debate. Instead, we're seeing penal provisions being invoked against him, and he's being now asked to come in for questioning at his age. The Congress is as guilty as other parties of not standing up for free speech, Manish.
Well, Mr. Kanwal, if at all, as Mr. Ashish Nandi has claimed, and he's apparently gone to the Supreme Court also with his prayer that he was misrepresented, then I think those people who really misrepresented him or who have been now accused of that misrepresentation need to really introspect about their conduct. And if at all Mr. Ashish Nandi did end up saying advertently or inadvertently, certain things which were insensitive or which annoyed a particular community, then obviously the right thing for him to have done is to possibly have retracted those comments. But if as he claims, and we should give him the benefit of doubt, that his comments were distorted and they were misrepresented, then those people who are responsible for distorting and misrepresenting his comments, really need to introspect with regard to their own sense of restraint and responsibility, and as to what kind of reportage they should be really doing.
Manish, you're saying that Salman Rushdie should have offered a retraction, and Ashish Nandi should have offered a retraction. Jayalalitha asked Kamal Haasan to apologize. It's the same thing. You're saying, come together, compromise, come to a conclusion. Why should there be a compromise with the mob? Why can't free speech prevail in this country? If people are offended, they have the right to be offended, but the other person equally has the right to make his point. There can be space for debate. It is that space for debate which is being diminished because the central government, most importantly, Manish, is not standing up and making artists and others feel empowered to say what they want, even if it stokes a debate.
Again, I think, Rahul, you need to really introspect as to whether you should hear an answer properly or not. I never asked Mr. Ashish Nandi to retract his statement.
No, you said if he was wrong, he could have retracted. He should have.
That, he said something advertently or inadvertently, which hurt somebody's sensitivities or sensibilities, then possibly the right thing to do would be to retract. So therefore, I have not asked him to retract. And B, I said that if he feels that his statements were distorted or they were misrepresented, then those people who are responsible for distorting or misrepresenting his statements, which means obviously the people who reported it, really need to introspect about their sense of responsibility and restraint. So therefore, if we are going to have a culture of free debate, if we are going to have a culture of a healthy, robust, democratic give and take, then there needs to be responsibility on all sides. You cannot hold the government accountable and completely let other stakeholders who are equally or equally important and vital participants in the entire public discourse or in the public arena completely off the hook without any sense of responsibility
Manish,
or accountability.
You're the Information and Broadcasting Minister. You tell me, do you believe that there is no problem at all, that libertarian values are alive in our country, there is no threat to freedom of speech, that all these instances, one after the other, and so many of them have happened recently, are all aberrations? Sanjoy Roy, Ashish Nandi, Kamal Haasan, all of them are just aberrations, and that there is no threat at all to freedom of speech? Because that's not the fact, Manish.
The difficulty is, Rahul, that when you lump it all together under one broad brush, that is where we run into a difficulty. Each case really needs to be dealt on its own facts and circumstances. And if at all, there are certain reservations which people may have about a particular instance, that does not mean that the entire civil liberties process in India or the entire civil liberties paradigm has come under threat. After all, there are 852 channels in the broadcasting space which are broadcasting 24/7. There are about 7 crore people who are on social media who are at it on a daily basis 24/7. There are about 3,000 or 5,000 odd, newspapers which are registered with the DAVP. There may be many more, who print and come out every day. So if therefore when you have, if such vital numbers do not really bear testimony to the freedom of speech and expression in this country, then I do not know what else should bear testimony to it.
Well, we might have our differences of opinion. You've made your case. I don't want to sit in on judgment one way or the other. Manish Tewari, I leave it to our viewers, the most important constituent in our democracy, the voters, to decide whether they believe freedom of speech is under threat. The fact is, in one instance after another, there is a larger pattern, there's a larger trend, there is a cultural terrorism, there is a cultural emergency at play. Make no mistake about it, and the government needs to stand up, look the mob in the eye and ask them to back down, not cow down before the mob. Manish Tewari, for joining us from Chandigarh, thank you very much.